All right, hello and welcome. This interview is brought to you by DES, which is the Detroit Education Society. Now, if you guys wouldn't mind introducing yourselves.
My name's Ketan Joshi, and I'm in eighth grade, and I go to Bloomfield Middle School, and I'm part of the Mechanical Monkeys Robotics team.
I'm Ketan Joshi, and I'm a head coach of FTC Team 7047, which is a team for Bloomfield Schools.
And hello, I'm Anjali Kolachalam, and it is a pleasure to meet you both.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, and so I hear that you guys are big robotics champions. Could you explain the competition and what this guy is and how you guys got involved?
Go ahead.
Okay, so the challenge of this year was actually you had to place these cubes from the middle of a pit, and you had to put them in a vertical stack. So like a 3x4 array, and that was the main, transporting it there and making sure you don't drop, like, by accidentally tumble over any blocks, and making sure they're in a straight 3x4 array pattern. Also getting this humanoid type object and putting it over a 1 foot barrier and making sure it doesn't fall off, replicating the situation of saving a human. So in the game, there's 3 parts. The first 30 seconds is a pre-programmed instruction period where the robot runs by itself, and we code in Java to program its certain tasks that's given at the beginning of the year. After that, it's a teleop period where you use a controller. You program controls to move the robot around. For example, to move this, our placer up here and our intake, and moving that up and down, we would use our controls, and we would specify, and there's many controls that go with that. And then the last 30 seconds of that teleop period is called the end game, where, as I mentioned, that humanoid type object, there's certain tasks that you're only allowed to do during the last 30 seconds of the period. And for example, it was placing that humanoid object and saving it.
That's really cool. And you know what? He's kind of a handsome fella, too. Does he have a name?
Actually, so since our team name was Mechanical Monkeys, we decided to name him Curious George.
Oh, that's so cute. And it looks incredibly complicated, so I'm sure there were a lot of challenges and a lot of achievements. Do you want to talk about some of those?
So actually, a couple of challenges was actually this year we had to hang our robot. So we had to lift our entire robot on itself without any power. So that was a big struggle for us, and we eventually found out that we could use a very heavy, durable motor that was able to restrain from unleashing without any power. Also, one of the big things we did is that we used a form of artificial intelligence called a neural network to identify a blue and a red ball. So basically, we had to take like almost about a couple thousand pictures of the balls in different orientations, lighting conditions, and we put a bounding box around each of those images to show what is like red ball and what is blue ball. Then the neural network would train itself, and it would create this AI file, which we would give it an input, which would be like the feed of the image during the timeless period, and it would within 2 seconds or 3 seconds give us an output, which would be whether to knock off the red ball and blue ball, and based on that, the robot would perform its actions.
That is very cool. And you know what? Curious George is clearly very high quality. So how much did it cost? Is it a very expensive thing to make? How do you fund this handsome
Let me
fella
chime
here?
in a bit. So it does take a lot to build a robot, and typically it is from anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. But there are a lot of organizations around that helps you to sponsor. So you can form a team. If you are a rookie team, first organization has some grant for you as a rookie team that you can get, and some of the parts. Then there is a whole ecosystem, supporting ecosystem around it, where you can go after requesting for grant for the team, show what your team is, what they're going to do, and it's not that hard to raise money if you are looking to invest into STEM, if you are looking to learn, if you are looking to show that the team's performing. So having said that, there's a whole process, and they guide you through that, the first organization, and it has been, Bloomfield Hills itself had 8 or 9 teams, and I'm just not talking Bloomfield Hills, every school district has multiple teams, and they never ran into a funding issue. And there's a process for that. So if anybody's looking for some help or support how to do that, our team's willing to help.
So don't get intimidated like by the cost. Actually, like a couple of our sponsors easily gave $2,000, and there are endless amounts of grants that people are willing to give because every company wants to contribute something to what their profession is about. For example, GM and Ford, which is actually one of our sponsors, coincidentally.
That's really cool. And you know what? It's so nice to hear that the local community has been so supportive of such fantastic achievement. I'm sure there's so much that you're proud of with this project and there's so much to be proud of, but is there anything specific that you're like, this is really fantastic, we really worked hard on this?
Yeah, this year we were actually able to accomplish all the tasks. So usually we weren't able to do this, but this year we were able to do every single task possible during the mission this year. So that meant placing these cubes, and actually hanging the robot, which was very difficult, but we eventually got to that point where we were able to have a full perfect autonomous. We were able to do everything during the tele-op period, and quite efficiently, where we ranked 4th in our state this year. And also being able to hang our entire robot, which was surprisingly hard considering you have to lift an entire 25-pound robot with on one motor. So
that's really cool. And I'm sure this was so much hard work and so much dedication, but I'm also sure that there were some funny or fun moments that happened while you were making this robot. Is there anything that you would like to share with our viewers?
So it didn't happen this year, but it's a lot of fun, honestly. Don't, just because, okay, you see a robot that's so much better than yours, don't get intimidated, because that has actually been very costly. So two of my experiences was one, in the qualifying tournament, this is my rookie year, so we were down, it was like the final, so we had no way of advancing unless we won that tournament, and we were the last selected alliance by the number 1 seed, so then we were at the finals, and this was the last game, so it was like, you win or you go home. So, we were probably down 60 points, and that year, you had to shoot these balls. It was almost like basketball. You had to pick up these, this big balls, and then you had to shoot them into a hoop. So, it also, so there's certain colored balls. So red alliance balls and blue alliance balls. You can only score with your own alliance color. So what actually happened was that you're not allowed to have a different color's ball in your robot, and that causes a penalty. So we were down 70 points probably, and we were like, okay, our hopes are done. That was a good season. But, so our alliance, they completely misfired. Like I'm saying, they were off by a lot. And that gets stuck in our opponent's robot. So there's about 1 minute left. So they award a 10-point penalty per 5 seconds in the robot. And you might not believe it, but all of a sudden we were up by 40 points at the end of that match. They tried everything. They were ramming into the wall, trying to get that ball out. They couldn't. And I bet that team very heavily regretted that one spot that the ball got stuck in. And that completely actually helped us go to states. And from there, we actually advanced to Super Regional. So if it wasn't for that one ball hitting the robot, we probably would have never made it anywhere. And that was like our last life, and then we somehow survived. And then one more experience.
Yeah, go for it.
So and at Super Regionals the following year, with not this robot, but 2018 season, so there was we were at Super Regionals, and this was supposed to be the best team in the world right now, reversing. So we're like, okay, so it's safe to assume we lost. Because we weren't expecting too much because we knew something bad would happen. So what ended up happening is that we were reversing this team, but at the last second, so you had to balance your robot on the balancing stone. And you're allowed to place this humanoid object that I was talking about early only if you do a certain pattern with the cubes, like the different colored cubes. So then they actually messed up their pattern with the cubes. So then they actually weren't allowed to place the relic, but instead they placed both of their humanoid objects, which is called the relic. And so, but none of those counted, which was actually equating to 110 points, because they were completely destroyed the game. They were like really good at it. So then, and then when they were trying to park both of their teams' balancing stones, they rolled off of it at the last second before the game, like 1 second before. And then within 5 seconds, our driver parked within the balancing stone. And we won that game by 5 points. So that was like, you should never get it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds really exciting.
Yeah. So one thing I'd like to add is, the way this program is, not only you learn STEM, but it's also a game. So there is a game portion of it, which makes it fun. And apart from STEM, depending on your skills, not everybody has to be an engineer to be on the team. Somebody could be a marketer, some could be a business planner, somebody is an outreach person. You need all different kinds to make up this team. Somebody who's an engineer, somebody who's a programmer. So don't think that you have to have engineer or somebody who really knows math can be on this team. There are areas that everybody learns on and get advantage of. The second part is, I keep getting asked, like, what's the prerequisite to build a team, to form a team? And there is none. You, as a parent, you just need to be able to volunteer, and that's all it takes. You don't need to know, you don't have to be a programmer on as a parent, or it doesn't have to be an engineer. There are the ecosystem, the support system. There's a lot there that you can get out of it and start working towards that. So I would encourage for anybody who's looking to form a team. It's a great venue to learn. And again, as I said, if anybody's interested in forming a team, how to do that, what needs to happen, please feel to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to mentor.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And do you have any big hopes and dreams for the next season? What's the goal? What's the next step for you guys?
So I think so now I'm an 8th grader, but I'll be with my experience, I think I'll try to come back to my old team and help them out. But now there's actually a couple of levels. So you start at Lego League. For Michigan, it's K through 5, and then you go through 6th through 8th grade is FTC, which is this type of robot. And then now there's these gigantic robots that it's called FRC, which is for high schoolers. So now I'll be graduating into that program, and
that's very exciting. All right. Well, is there anything else that you would like to share with our viewers?
Just don't get demoralized, because of course, like, there's been many failures behind this robot that when we got to Worlds, we were very happy, of course, but we didn't succeed. We were very there's been lots of failures behind that. That wasn't just we just come up to robotics and we just make it one year. That's not what happened. We were in it for several years, and we didn't even make it to state competition many times, and it took a lot of work and it takes a lot of dedication. So if you stay focused and keep your morale towards it and never give up, I think you will achieve your success.
That is wonderful. Do you guys have any other closing remarks or?
No, I think we covered pretty much every part of it. Again, I think the lessons learned, like Om said, is it's don't give up, right? You asked, what are you proud of? I'm very proud of the team that works so hard and in the time of pressure, right? You've seen basketball games, you've seen football games, and as a player, what they go through, right? Mm-hmm. I felt you have pretty much the same intense when you're playing with a robot. So having said that, the team's ability at such a young age to take that pressure and continue to perform and take setbacks, right?
Right.
You're not going to win all the time. Take setbacks. And to me, that's one of the very proud moments as a coach I have with all the kids.
That's wonderful. And it is always wonderful to hear about the community support you're getting and the hard work of students and parents who will come together to create something pretty remarkable. If you appreciate that information, please go online to www.detroiteducation.org. Again, that is www.detroiteducation.org, and make a small donation. And if you have education or youth development related information to share for the benefit of young adults, or you want to sponsor the video with your business ad, please contact us. Thank you.
So this year it was to intake materials. So the intake would we would go up to the materials from a pit. It would intake these materials and it would go up. Then we would this would go down, and then we would lift it up. It would fall into this area, and then our rack and pinion here would lift the robot. And then during this process, I programmed it so that the intake would come forward, so to avoid any interaction between these two mechanisms. And it would come out, flip it, and then this would deposit those minerals into the cargo depot. And that would reward us points. That was during the teleop period, and that was the main issue of the game.